Greetings, ladies and gents. The worst kept secret since probably Wrath of the Lich King has finally been revealed. And that is World of Warcraft Stone Dude. I mean, granted, there were dragons, but mostly I was just rooting for Stone Dude. Let's get into it. Joking aside, I am, of course, talking about the reveal of Dragonflight. But before we get into that, before we get into everything that Dragonflight's going to have to offer, I just want to say, WoW story team, could you please just learn from the WoW animation team? I cared more, and I had more feeling towards Stonebro, who said nothing, who literally just looked at the camera with tiny little pinhole eyes, and I felt more for him than I did for the whole of like the Vol'jel storyline or the Jailer storyline. I cared more for Stone Guy in probably the first, I don't know, 20-30 seconds that I saw him than I did for Sylvanas over the course of the last 2 expansions. So yeah, come on, do better, story team. But anyway, that aside, things are looking up, my fellow WoW players. The Dragonflight expansion seems to be a continuation of commitment by Blizzard to hear the players, to try and understand where we're coming from, to not instantly be on the defensive, but also for the Blizzard team to question everything that's gone before. Not to just say, well, that's how it was always done, that's set in stone. They should feel free to experiment and see what they want to do. Combine the best of both worlds, what the players are looking for and what they really desperately want to deliver, and make something new. Think of this more as WoW 1.5 than 2.0. But it certainly is an evolution over the mindset and the attitude of what's gone before. But before we get too far into the weeds, or too far into the things that have really changed or Blizzard got a little bit crazy on, let's kick this off with things that we're familiar with from previous expansions. Of course, we have the level cap. Yeah, it's going up to 70 this time. And, come on, of course we have a new playground to play in. The Dragon Isles is something that Blizzard have wanted to bring to bear for a while now. It's always been whispered, it's always been something that's been on the cusp. That's why I kind of, every time I see a Dragon expansion come up, I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll see. But they've been wanting to do it for a while, and it's never come about. Now is Blizzard's time. They feel they can finally deliver on their vision of what the Dragon Isles is meant to be. Now, the Dragon Isles itself is going to consist of 4 new zones. We have the Waking Shores, the vast Opharan Plains. So vast, in fact, the Blizzard have upped the view distance just so you can really get a scale, the majesty of the vistas you're going to be seeing. Now, Blizzard have said, on a side note here, I don't want people to panic who have older PCs, Blizzard have said that they are going to stand by their commitment to make WoW as accessible as it can be to all. They're hoping not to raise the requirements above that was required to run Shadowlands. It's worth noting that we haven't actually seen the requirements yet for Dragonflight, so yeah, that's still a bit up in the air on whether they can actually keep that promise, but we shall see. Then we have one of my personal faves, I think, for the new zones, the Frosty Azure Span. I have always loved the kind of frozen tundra style locations of WoW, so this one's right up there. And finally, we have the seat of the Dragon Power down in Thelojuzus. There is one thing I'm going to say that definitely remains consistent. No matter how many expansions, no matter if Blizzard switch the servers off and then switch them back on with WoW 2.0, something completely different and new, is that I will always butcher every name in World of Warcraft. Of that, you can rely on.
There are some things in this world, Captain Niobe, that will never change.
But some things do. And one of the first things we've got to talk about are the new Evoker class and the new playable race, the Drakthar, or the Dragonkind as I'm going to call them. Welcome to the first ever race class combo. Yeah, a little bit of a weird one this. The Dragonkind have 2 appearances, similar to how the Worgen work. One is the dragon appearance, the other is the kind of elvish male female. I mean, okay, here's the best way I can describe this when I was looking at it. Imagine a demon hunter and a Fey dragon got crazy drunk. I mean, hammered. They're there in Suramar doing the strongest alcohol they could possibly do. One thing leads to another. Yeah, and they're having whoopee on a rooftop somewhere. And the next thing you know, we have the dragonkin offspring. That's what they look like. They kind of look like the whole demon hunter with the horns and kind of the bright colours of a fey dragon. But this new race can only be the evoker class. And the evoker class can only be this new race. Yes, the two go hand in hand. Now, what is the evoker, you ask? It is a male-wearing class with 2 specs. One is a range DPS, using the power of magic and fire. The idea is that all 5 of the aspects have given a portion of their power to these evokers, to these dragonkin, and they're able to wield it in different ways. The DPS uses the fire and magic, as we said. The other is the healer class, and that will use life and time to heal and help allies. Also, interesting to note that these are going to have a hold down ability. So the way I think of this is, if you think of it as shaman healer, they have healing surge and they have healing wave. My guess is that you're going to be, if you just tap your button, then it's just going to do a small minor heal. If you hold it down, it might do a much bigger heal, or do an AoE heal, something like that. Also, for those of you that maybe don't like the idea of holding down your buttons, you can also have a toggle function so that you press it and you can kind of release it again after a period of time. But it doesn't mean you can hold your spells, which is really interesting, because you may prep it, line it up, be ready, be ready, be ready. When you know that burst of damage is coming, bang, you can hit your much more empowered spell. That's going to be a really interesting one to see how that plays in modern WoW. I'm not sure, but it's nice to have something new and interesting to play with. And you might be sitting there thinking, Grim, that's 1, 2, that's 4. That's 4 of the dragon aspects done. What about the other? The black dragonflight is mentioned. It is part of the aspects, the dragonkin, but as yet we do not know how that's going to fit in. It may just be the base dragon spec. We're going to get onto talents in a little bit, but talents have been split. There is a whole new talent tree. One is your base. So let's say you are a druid. You will have your druid base set of skills, and then you have your specialization, the spec you've gone into. So it might be resto. It may be that the evoker DPS has magic and fire, and then the evoker healer has life and time magic, and then the base dragon just has black dragon powers, something like that. Maybe more defensive, more utility kind of based things. All I'm going to say is, for now, the lore behind these is going to be absolutely fantastic. From what we know so far is that basically these were created by Nefarian. He wanted to combine the power that dragons had with kind of the adaptability of the mortals out there, the mortal races. So yeah, it can be interesting to see. You may be, like me, stuck there playing your old class, thinking, oh great. So the 2 new classes added to the game both have wings. Well, isn't that delightful? And they can both soar and fly. Well, that's great. Well, fin up, because we will be gaining an all-new dragon mount from the very beginning of the expansion. Granted, the dragonkin and the demon hunters get them as well. I'm sorry. Now, we've had dragon mounts in the past. You may be thinking, this is a little bit strange of a kind of flex for Blizzard to be saying, hey, you get a dragon mount. We've had dragon mounts in the past. But this will be no normal dragon mount. Instead, think of it more as a kind of glider that we can have out whenever we need it. We can literally climb to the top of a mountain, jump, get a huge speed boost to our dragon, and then floom, unfurl the wings and glide across to another area. It's going to allow for a lot of exploration very early on without us having to buy goblin gliders and everything else. The big one for many people, certainly in the long term, is going to be how customizable these dragons are. There are all sorts of body shapes, there is armor, there are colours, horns, scales, spikes, golden scroll. There's all sorts of different options that you can have. This is not going to be like Poco Poco, that when they finally released the options to change him, there's like 5 at best. But as I've said, there's going to be a lot of options, a lot of combos, and many of them will be hidden around the world. So the idea is, go and explore. We are not a military presence in the Dragon Isles. We are there as friends, we are there as explorers to just try and understand this newly exposed land. So yeah, it's going to be all about exploration and just go out there and see what you can find. But now, if you're a long-term player for WoW, this is going to be a big one. The return of talent points.
Don't call it a comeback!
Sorry. The revamp of talent points. Now, to me, this is great on the surface. I love the idea of being able to select just crazy builds, trying different things out to see what works for me. But I kind of feel, is it going to boil down to people just going on to Wowhead or Icy Veins and picking whatever the talent choices are on there? If it is, then what was the point of putting all this extra work in just for people to copy others? Now sure, that may be a community issue more than a Blizzard one. I'm just hoping that the options are balanced, or, whoa, easy, I know, this is Blizzard, as balanced as they possibly can be. And more important, that the choices are actually interesting. We don't need this whole talent revamp if when I get to the end, let's say I'm a shaman, I still can only pick Stormkeeper. Why not make Stormkeeper a little further up? But you've got to go down the whole AoE lightning arc tree if that's what you want to do. You know, hey, you can have an option where it increases the amount of targets. You're not on 5, you're on 8 cap now. This system allows for so much creative thinking and fun builds. I just hope we haven't been broken by these years of just pick whatever it tells you to pick on whatever website you want to go to. And then once you're leveled to max and you've picked that last talent, you ain't ever going to go back and you're never going to look at them again. Because that would be a huge waste of this revamp. But now let's pick ourselves back up, because professions are getting so much love that it may as well be a bukkake party. We are seeing a return of specializations in crafting. Are you a blacksmith and want to focus on armor only? Now you can. Want to be a weaponsmith? Go for it. You will also be able to help others by crafting their work orders. They'll be able, let's say they're a gatherer, they'll be able to gather all the necessary items, let's say for pots. They can then put this work order up as I would like somebody to make 20 pots. This is the price. People will be able to go up and go, hey, I'm going to do that work order and I'm going to make some gold. Nice. We shall also be receiving new profession equipment. Now don't worry, this is not going to be like, for fuck's sake, like another ton of gear. We've already got enough gear in our bags. This is not going to be like that. Whenever you walk into a crafting zone, you will equip this profession's appearance, and as you level up, as you gain more prestige and power, you are going to increase how your appearance looks. Think of it that when you first walk in, you're maybe in a linen cloth sack and you got your mining pick in your hand. When you walk out at the end of the expansion, you're going to be literally like Gallywicks decked out in gold and gems. You're going to have, you know, this diamond encrusted pick. Now there is also a new professions UI to go along with all this, with stats to enable you to do all sorts of wondrous things, which is going to be really interesting. So for instance, let's say you are a alchemist, you'll be able to focus, let's say, on power pots, and all of a sudden, hey, I can make more powerful power pots, or I have a proc chance that all of a sudden it will make a more powerful pot. You're that armor smith, well, we put some points in there, and you'll be able to actually have a chance to increase the item level of gear that you've crafted. At the end of BFA, I was really disappointed with how professions had gone and where they looked like they were going in Shadowlands. I'd hoped Shadowlands was going to change that, and we're actually you can craft your base Lego item. It was going to be more in depth. It was going to be, professions could legitimately be a path to endgame. That could be what you do, because that's what you love doing, going out in the world, collecting things, coming back, and do these new work orders. But none of that materialized. It was just a hugely long grind, a long slog that most players never did, and it came to nothing. This, I'm hoping, is a real change for professions, and will make, I hope, professions a viable endgame for those that wish to do it. And finally, at least for now, Blizzard are updating their UI. Yes, the base game UI is being changed, and in fact, a lot of love is being thrown at it. You can still have the UI that you've got now. Don't panic, don't worry. It's just the fact that you are simply being given more options. If you are a fan of using something like LVUI or Bartender or something like that, you'll be very at home with these new features. A nice touch is if you have, let's say, created your UI and it's perfect for when you're doing DPS. Let's say you're on your new Evoker class, it's perfect for your DPS build. But then when you go healing, you want maybe your party frames are now in the middle of your screen because you need to be able to heal them. Now, whenever you click a different spec, so you're Invoker, you're at DPS, you click healing, your whole UI will change for you. Boom, instantly you can now be good to go as a healer. Want to go back to DPS? You can. Your whole UI will change again. It's a really nice feature that I really, really like. I'm hoping we see some more on this. Exactly what can be done. Can we change the nameplates a little more? They do have a much thicker health bar, which is, I think, a really good change. But what level of customization can we make? Is this going to be, dare I say it, a complete replacement for LVUI?
What did you say?
That's a bold move, and it'll be interesting to see. And to be fair, it will probably be quite handy because, yeah, the add-on wars are not over yet. We've still got overwolf flexing. At some point, it is going to come to a head with the add-ons. So if we can have less reliance on these external add-ons and more reliance on where it should be, which is in Blizzard's hands, I'm all fine with that. But as I say, it does remain to be seen. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Dragonflight. Coming, yeah, not too soon, TM, sadly. Which is a shame, but if it's going to be good, it's going to need time, and I'm all for it. From what I've seen so far, this is the first expansion that I've been really excited about. We're going back with the dragons. I love the look of the new profession stuff. I love the UI accessibility things that they've done. The zones look great, but they always do. But there's just a lot of good ideas, good intent, and a good direction that it's going in. But to go with that, we need a real alpha, we need a real beta. Not another streamer, YouTuber fest. So they can get their views up and then move on to whatever game pays them next. I don't need players coming back. Oh, the beta's been announced? Well, let me just resubscribe to WoW. I haven't played for 6 months, but sure, I'll do it. Oh, look, I'm into the alpha and I'm into the beta. And I had no idea what went before. Or players who have quit. Oh, I'm not going back to WoW. That's me done with WoW, ladies and gentlemen. And all of a sudden there's a chance to get more views. Yeah, alright, I'll take that alpha invite. Let's go. Hauler ballers. Give it to the players who have lasted the life of Shadowlands. Give it to the players that actually play your game, Blizzard. From all walks of life, we need the top players. Don't get me wrong, we need the very best players to look at this game and be able to say, hey, these are the things that we think work and we think don't work. They play it more than most. But we also need those that just do pet battling. Those that just do transmog runs. Those that want to do a crafting profession but want it to actually be meaningful. This is their chance to look and go, oh my god, this is what I've wanted for so long. Everybody's views and opinions on this game matter at this point. If we want this new WoW 1.5 to be for everyone, and to be something that we can enjoy, then that has to start with the alpha and the beta. And with that regard, I have put in the description a link that will take you to either US or EU. It's the Wowhead page. It will take you to either the EU, the US page. Click on it, go there, and all you need to do right down the bottom of the page is click opt in, and boom, and then you're done. You're opted into the beta. Whew. But that's enough from me, ladies and gents. Yeah, we're going to go visit the dragons. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Laters, everyone.